Okay, folks, welcome back to another fantastic edition of Opali Presents Know Your Pros. And today's guest, we have Shannon Riley of Ventura Pet Wellness and Dog Training Center. She is also the founder of Truly Force-Free Animal Training. She is local here to Ventura County, but serves folks throughout the country with her courses, webinars, all sorts of different things. But come say hello if you're in Ventura County. Shannon, it is a pleasure to have you as a guest today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here today.
Shannon, I was excited to get you as a guest just because your personality and the way that you work with owners and their dogs, I think is something that really should be broadcast like all over the world. So many people these days picked up animals during the pandemic, and now they're stuck with a dog that they may be undertrained or didn't train at all. And there are a lot of snake oil salesmen out there in the world who are trying to tell you to do this, do that. But what really made a great impression on me when I first started talking to you was how you tailor your experience around what the dog needs and around what the owner needs. I want to get into your methods and practices in a second, but before we do that, why was it that you went out and started your own thing? What was the flashpoint moment for you, Shannon Riley?
Well, yeah, I started when I was actually in Buena High School. We got a dog, and I started training her, and I used choke chains, and I hated it even at 16. But I knew I wanted to be in the animal world, but I didn't know anything else. So I just did what the teacher told me and then trained the heck out of her so that I didn't have to use that choke chain. Then fast forward, I went to Sonoma State and I was pre-vet, which I halfway through there went, I don't want to go to vet school, found out about vet tech school and got into vet tech training. And while I was there, was still fascinated with behavior like I had always been. So as soon as I graduated from vet tech school, I started researching behavior and psychology of dogs and animals. And I ended up, and at that time, I was newly married and I had a flat coat retriever who was dog aggressive. And I didn't know really how to deal with it. Old school methods were punish, 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 hurt her, like stop her. But I didn't like that either. So I went to a vet conference and there's a behaviorist named Karen Overall who I went to her seminar and she said, I will never forget this. This was in the 90s. Aggression doesn't treat aggression. And I went, whoa. And so first Missy was my dog when I was 16 and she's in my book. And I talk about how she changed me, like really made me see like dog training doesn't need to be like this. And then Sadie was my flat coat who drove me nuts. And she was a lot of work, but I learned this whole new way of psychology of training. So I was a vet tech at the time and I was doing puppy classes so I could socialize puppies. And that was a new thing because we realized how important socialization was for their development. And then I was branching out into more psychology of dogs rather than just training dogs. And what is the therapy part of that? And so then I did vet tech during the day and dog training at night on the weekends. Fast forward about 10 years, and my daughter was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, and I needed to leave vet tech world, which was hard for me because I love medicine, but that gave me the opportunity to start a business. And I was in Napa at the time, and then we moved to Ventura, back to Ventura, my hometown. And slowly it was totally organic, but people were like, you do dog training? Can you train my dog? And I'm like, well, I'm kind of raising kids right now. So I had to find people to babysit and I did Saturday classes. And next thing I knew, I had a business. And that's how Ventura Pet Wellness was born. And then fast forward a little bit, Truly Force Free started because I would go to vet conferences and vets would say, but Shannon, I don't have a positive trainer in my area. Everyone uses choke chains, pinch collars, and shock. How do I do your method? So that's how Truly Force Free was born because I wanted positive force free training available to anyone, anywhere. So I was doing the Ventura thing, but slowly working to develop this website of Truly Force Free, which are all my same methods. I try to keep up with the current science. So I go to a lot of conferences that are behavior vets, studies, people who have master's and PhD in animal behavior. A lot of times it crosses over with human behavior. And that's how I kind of got into this. And now it's my passion of always learning more and how it's for me as a dog trainer, quote unquote dog trainer, but I'm really a human trainer too, is I want to match the human and the dog. So if your dog doesn't really need to learn down because there's no need for you to have them learn down, we're not going to focus on that. Or maybe your dog physically can't lay down because of pain, like on cue. Then why worry about that? Or if I have a client who has a bad hip, I'm not going to go, well, we have to walk your dog 5 miles a day. That's not going to work. So let's find other ways of exercising the dog. So something that's a little unique to me that I'm learning, I didn't know this about me until people started telling me, is I find ways that what works for you and your dog, and put the psychology together to make it all work together, because that's how you have success. If I'm trying to make the Mastiff, who's a couch potato, into a high level agility dog, it's never going to work. Or if I want the person, if there's a couch potato person who has a border collie who wants to work and they just want them to be couch potatoes, that's not going to work. So usually I try to find that before they adopt a dog and find the right dog. But if they end up with the wrong match, I try to come up with creative ways to make that relationship still work through training and psychology.
When you offer lots of different types of courses, you offer consultations with people, you offer puppy classes, you offer one-to-one training, and you've got your own facility here in Ventura as well.
Yes.
We've already talked about how, you are different from everybody else because you're a positive, trainer. You are truly force-free, as you say here. So I want to kind of get into a little bit of like your offerings there with the business, how that plays into how you are different. I mean, I know we already talked about that. You're not going to turn the couch potato mastiff into an agility dog.
Yes.
But for folks out there who, might just like consult with the fly-by-night sources, like, checking something out on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram and not talking to somebody maybe who's local, has had this psychological experience with pets, humans, and then training and veterinary. I mean, like that is just like this perfect mixture of exactly who you want to be talking to. Yeah.
Well, a lot of times if you watch YouTube or TikTok, I mean, there can be some good individual advice, but it doesn't necessarily help you with your dog. So one example, recently I had a dog who came to me who she'd go out on walks, but then she would stop and she wouldn't come back. Like she'd just sit and she froze. These people had gone to multiple trainers before me. And the dog was getting worse. They moved to a house by the beach. And so anybody who has beach houses know most of the houses are upside down houses. So, you have to go upstairs to get to the kitchen and stuff because all the living space is upside down, on the top floor. Well, this dog came to me, and super sweet little pit bull. And we were talking, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw her hold up one of her legs. I'm like, and then I made her kind of do some things, and I watched her gait. And I said, we talked about some possible training things, using treats, blah, blah, blah. But that person, I said, you need to go to the vet and make sure there's nothing wrong with her hips or her knees, because I suspect she might have a luxated cruciate, patella. She could have a torn cruciate, or she could have hip dysplasia or something. They went to the vet. The vet actually emailed me and said, thank you so much. She had major hip dysplasia, bad knees, and going up and down those stairs made it so she was excited to go on her walk, but she couldn't come back because she hurt too bad. We never had to do another training session because once they got the hips and everything, she had surgery and they gave her all her pain medication. She was walking fine. I never saw her again. But a TikTok or a YouTube person isn't going to be able to see those little things. We were talking a little bit about your neighbor's dog who hides from you when you come out. Well, that person might be going to a trainer who's teaching them how to sit, come, stay down, which is all great. But when that dog hides behind their owner, it's probably because they're frightened of people and strangers. And on TikTok, someone may say, well, force them to do this or force them to do that. But you can actually make the behavior worse, where then they could become a biter where they weren't going to be a biter before if you had gone slower and really help them learn that people aren't scary. So that's where when you get, like, if you're just doing sit down, come stay, that's fine. But people forget that dogs and animals have emotions and feelings, and stress and anxiety can play into their training. So a lot of times people will label their animals stubborn, but really they're fearful, they're anxious, they're confused. There's so many other things that when you have a professional who can look at all those pieces, not just your dog's not sitting, make them sit. But maybe your dog's not sitting because they have a sore, hip, or maybe your dog's not coming because every time you say come at the dog park, you put the leash on and go home. And your dog's like, well, come is a stupid word. That means all the fun's done. I'm out. So, but when you have somebody who sits back, and I've been told very at time, I'm a good listener and I'm a good watcher. But my clients, the dogs, they don't talk to me. So I have to observe everything they're doing, but I'm also observing my people. So if I'm doing a one-on-one or I'm in a puppy class or agility, I'm watching my people. And in agility is a great example, because if you have a really hyped up dog and then the person gets really hyped up, it's a disaster.
Right.
So I have to tell that person, stop, take a breath, get grounded. All I care about, I want you to be chill. I don't care if your dog spins around. If you're calm, he's going to come back to you. But if you're spinning out too, they're going to spin out and you're never going to succeed. But you don't get that when you're on YouTube or TikTok. You get a 30-second or a do this or do that. Unfortunately, life doesn't work like that. Dogs don't read textbooks. Life isn't just like for us. If we can't just watch a TikTok video and learn a new skill. We have to practice it. And maybe we have trouble with a certain skill because of a physical or mental or emotional aspect. So having that personal one-on-one person can help you direct it where you need to go. And I find a lot of times it's faster if you have somebody helping you that's very specific than if you try to do those other things. It can take a lot longer because you're not going in a straight line.
Right. And I mean, like, you are somebody that people can come and visit. You are somebody who, is here local in Ventura County. We shoot Know Your Pros with folks, throughout Southern California, but most of the folks who watch this thing and see this thing, they're right here in our local community. And, like I said at the top, with the pandemic dogs and, animals that are coming out of an era where, we are, focusing on force. It's not a space that's very advantageous to good, well-trained pets and lifelong friends, and that's what you're here to make, Shannon.
Totally. And
Yeah.
something you just made me think of something that I just had I was talking to somebody and we were talking about people are starting to learn you shouldn't use choke chains, pinch collars, you shouldn't hurt your dog to train them. But where they're stopping, so this was a topic this week. What's happening is they're like, okay, I'm not going to hurt my dog to get them to do these things. Then I'm just not going to train them because I don't know what to do. So I'm going to let them get away with all that stuff. And they're going to destroy my house. They're going to bark, but I'm not, it's almost like parents who go from punishment, but then they don't want to go to positive reinforcement. So like, well, I'm just going to let my kids just do whatever they want. Cause then at least I'm not hurting them, but I'm not teaching them. So I want the pendulum to swing a little bit further where you go, yeah, we don't want to use pain, but we don't want to ignore all those things and just let them, Lord of the Rings or Lord of the Flies. We don't need Lord of the Flies happening with our dogs, but then go to the other end where we're like, let's teach them what we want them to do. If we take them to a restaurant, let's teach them what we want them to do while we eat dinner. What do we want them to do when we're cooking? What do we want them to do when visitors come? How do we want them to behave in these environments that we put them in? Because as dogs, they're not born to know, oh, I should sit when a person pets me. Oh, I should lay down by their feet while they eat dinner. They don't know that. We have to teach them what we want them to do.
You're all about what the client needs and what the dog needs, Shannon. I think that's so important to emphasize here. We are running out of time, so I want you to do the plug of anywhere that folks can find you, engage with you. There are so many resources if you're out there and you Google Ventura Pet Wellness Center, Ventura Pet Wellness and Dog Training Center, or Truly Force Free. Shannon has so many resources out there. Tell folks about those, where they can find.
Yes, the Truly Force Free animal training there's webinars. You can go to trulyforcefree.com. And we are just launching a puppy podcast. So it's a positive puppy podcast with another local Ventura, one of my good friends. She asks me every puppy question you could possibly want on a podcast, and I answer it. So if you have puppy questions, we just launched that. So it's a great way. And then Ventura Pet Wellness, you can go to venturapetwellness.com, and that's where you can have private trainings with me. You can have group trainings with me or trainers who I have vetted. So they're fine. They have the same philosophies as me. And then in July, we are doing I'm doing a seminar, the first seminar since COVID, all day at Ventura Pet Wellness, and July 8th. And I'm going to be doing all these webinars. Well, they're webinars that are turned into seminars. There's 7 different subjects, all about how animals learn, body language, understanding reactive dogs, toys for your dogs, like what's the best ones. Plus, we're going to bring lunch in so you can sit with me at a table. We can break bread and we can talk dog, and you can ask me some of your one-on-one questions, because it won't be thousands of people. There will be probably maybe 20 or 30 people that can all ask me different questions. And usually if one person asks me, there's at least 10 other people who have that same question in a room.
I would bet so. I mean, that would be so impactful to come and meet you. And folks, anything that Shannon just mentioned, we're going to put it down in the description of this video so you can engage with her. Make sure to visit her website, check out some of the webinars that she offers online too, and certainly explore the books and things that she's got on there as well. She is a wealth of knowledge with years and years of experience, 20 years of experience.
Over 20 years. Yeah, right. 20 plus. We got to make sure we don't show the wrinkles,
Oh, you have that youth about you, Shannon. And, that's what I engaged with. And that's what folks love about you at your business. So again, thank you so much for being a guest here with us today on Know Your Pros.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Know Your Pros.